And now it's time for me to roll out my prediction for Mr. Supranational this year. Initially, I dismissed this as a weak batch, but after following them for 2 weeks, I realized this batch is a charm of its own. These contestants have really taught me about evaluating them based on their character and not so much on how they look in their swim or formal wear during the preliminary competition. As a pageant vlogger, it's about time I need to go past these men's physicalities and see their worth for who they are as men for others instead. So most of my commentary about them here is how they are off stage, as I feel Mr. and Miss Supranational is all about having the best attitude and personality instead of having the best face or body of the competition. I already made my top 20, but I am only listing down my top 11 to make this a short watch video. So here we go. So, number 11 on my list is Jakub Vitek from Czech Republic. Have you ever come across a man who is just silent but packs so much punch when it matters the most? That's how I feel about Jakub from Czech Republic right now. That lean and ripped body is a result of his being a triathlete over the years. However, much as he looks great physically, it's not the quality that impresses me the most about him. It's his humility and great resume. He has developed himself to become a successful leader by mentoring young engineers in his community after going through anxiety and depression at one point of his life. This is such an inspiring story. If there is one minor thing I would like for him to change, is for him not to come to cross elbows yung ganon when he poses in the middle of the stage. It doesn't look modelish, so I hope he can still correct that. And now we go to my top 10, and number 10 on my list here is George Nunez from Venezuela. I really love a guy who is back in action after not being able to compete, especially last year when he encountered visa problems on his way to Poland. George had waited for this moment to arrive, so imagine his hunger to win this whole thing. And he is succeeding with his goal as he is standing out in the competition. Body-wise, he is amazing. His abs are to die for, and those eyes, you can really get lost in them as it gives you a peek of his personality, and so there is no justifying his strong stage presence. He previously competed in Mr. World where he ended up as a finalist, and I'm so hoping he would make it to top 10 this year at the very least. I really want to put this guy in my top 5/10 or higher ranking, but it's just that there are stronger Latinos than him in the competition. So let's see tomorrow night. And now we go to my ninth spot. I'm so happy to give it to him, Johannes Risler from the Philippines. Part of the reason why I am so excited to do this final hot picks this year is because of our own candidate making us proud in the competition right now. Johannes Risler has been wowing us with his looks and authenticity since arriving there in the competition. Initially, I just kept pegging him in my top 20 because I feel he is not competitive enough in terms of body physique. Yeah, and his commercial face could only get him far. However, as 2 weeks passed by, he slowly converted each one of us to his side with his fashion sense in the pre-pageant activities, his singing talent, and even his chill attitude. Now, he has a very engaging personality without being too extreme or yung alam mo in-your-face attitude or personality. And then he was shortlisted during the top model round while following it up with an impressive showing during the prelims because of his styling and modeling skills. Dito mo talaga makikita na hasang-hasa talaga si Johannes pagdating sa modeling, and it helped that he also had a moment there where he showcased his singing talent by rendering his original composition for the whole world to hear. He really had a moment there, and I'm really inclined to believe he could finally break our top 20 curse in this pageant by finally making it to top 10. I hope my hunch is right on Saturday. And much as I want to really put him to top 5, I really want to manage my expectations again. And now we go to my 8th spot, and I'm giving it to Daniel Zemeda from USA. If there's one guy whom I have been rooting to win this competition, it's Daniel Zemeda from the United States. I say this because I was part of his preparation team for this contest, and I was able to cover him extensively when he competed in his nationals 2 months ago. He is just a very kind and humble guy, and I am glad that a lot of people have been noticing him since the opening ceremony last week. You can really feel his determination in winning by being creative and relentless in documenting his journey there in Poland. And if I were the organizer, I will really take notice of his being a social media savvy guy. Kasi nakikita mo, masipag siya mag-post ng mga sponsor-related content, and I also like him for being a very charismatic speaker. However, during the preliminary competition, I feel his shine dim a little bit. I did not feel his strong stage presence like how I had felt him while covering him in LA 2 months ago. For one, I didn't like his suit, and I feel like he wasn't styled like I would have wanted it to be. Anyway, these are just some minor stuff that he could remedy, so I'm just hoping for the best for this guy. I really want him to get the top 5. So for the whole world to see how brilliant he is as a speaker. But before he can do that, he really has to wow us during the swim and the formal wear round. And now we go to my 7th spot, and I'm giving it to Daniel Hansen from Malaysia. Ay, it really breaks my heart to put him in this spot because I really want him to win so bad as well. I have followed Daniel's pageant journey since 2019 and 2018. I'm so happy that he has been given his biggest break in pageantry, that is to join this pageant. What I also like about him is that he's very humble and always speaks from the heart in every interview he does. When he spoke about taking care of his parents when they grow old in his Suprachat performance finale, he truly connected with me the most because I can really feel his love for his parents. I can really feel that he's very authentic, and that authenticity was highlighted in that performance again during the preliminary competition. I believe he performed the best in the formal wear round where he was just a sight to behold. Diba? However, I really feel there is something preventing him from winning, and it's not of his own doing. It's probably his height. And as we know, height is might in pageantry. He and Korea are neck and neck with the best performing Asian delegate this year. So this is why I am putting him at this position. He made it as one of the finalists in Super Chat this year, but Korea made it as one of the finalists for Top Model. So in the end, I chose Korea over him out of objectivity reasons. However, I'm willing to be proven wrong, and I wouldn't mind him getting to top 5, and because I am just basing my tiebreaker from height requirements. So feel free to stone me to death for this in case someone from Malaysia is watching this. I mean, I really want him to succeed. I really want him to penetrate the top 5, but there are just stronger competitors that to he has to compete with in order to win this year's title. And now we go to my 6th spot, and I'm giving it to Fabio Camatari from Italy. To be honest, guys, it's only during the preliminary competition that I began to realize his value as a contender. He really didn't start out strong for me, but for some reason, he really stood out. And I just realized this. He has one of the buffest bodies in the competition given his profession as a gym trainer, coupled with that genuine smile that really pierces through your heart. Or is it really his eyes that pierces you, that gives you a peek to his soul? Well, whatever it is, there seems to be an enigma that I can't explain. Kasi he's really charming, and it seems like he doesn't draw too much attention to himself despite how handsome he is. I think this is the type of guys that the organization is really looking for. Someone who's very low-key, charming, and without drawing too much attention for himself in this competition. And now we go to my top 5, and number 5 on my list here is Bruno Riguero from Ecuador. He is really my favorite, my heavy favorite to win this year, as this guy is just so handsome and oozes with so much sex appeal on stage. The moment he comes out on stage, you can really already feel his fire as he walks. Now he can be a Mac Dreamy in this Max Teamy that he has if you know what I mean. That he can be charismatic without being too sexy, especially when he's rocking his shorts for that swimwear round. Napansin nyo? He's just full of confidence about himself, and I certainly like that. And that body is also gorgeous to die for. However, I don't know if it's this overflowing of confidence which could backfire at him in the end, because if you will notice the trend of the winners of this pageant, the organization seems to prefer to crown guys who seem to be the shy and congenial, who seem to be the shy and congenial type, na who just possesses the right amount of swag and confidence. And I don't know if I am right or wrong about this observation. So I just really hope that this guy makes it so far in the competition. And now we go to my fourth spot, and I'm giving it to Lee Young-wook from Korea. Yep, I bet you did not expect that. Yes, he is coming out of nowhere to make it to my list, but he certainly deserves our attention. I have been closely observing this guy from day one, and he seems to have that very kind and humble personality as well. When you check out everyone's IG stories about him, everyone just loves him for his warmth, candor, and fashion sense. And he really gets along with everyone because he brings that, that lovable aura and energy, whether on or off stage, and you can't help but root for him. Suddenly, you are rooting for him for his demeanor, his character, and not for how incredibly ripped his body is. He just transcends his sexiness on stage to something more, to something lighter and amiable. It's really his personality. So, I think he might really do well in the competition later. And now we go to my top 3, and number 3 on my list here is Luca Oderin from the Netherlands. I really feel he is Europe's best bet for the crown this year, as he has the super prototype going for him. That smoldering look with that huge fit body. However, just like Korea, it's not his looks that draws me to him. He seems to have a very nice personality and gets along with everyone. He knows he is a looker but does not seem to brag or flaunt about it on his profiles or IG stories. Now, he just downplays it and just would like to get along with everyone. Because he seems to be the type of guy who would, easily get along with everyone. And for sure, if he wins, the organization would not have a hard time dealing with him. He just really disarms you with his warmth and simplicity. And now we go to my runner-up of this list, and I'm giving it to Ivan Alvarez from Spain. Uh, yeah, he has been my winner from the get-go because he just looks like a demigod in the competition. I feel that this Spanish hunk is made for Mr. Supranational. Now, he is just ridiculously good-looking both with and without his shirt. And ako lang ba nakapansin, he's just getting hotter and hotter by the day. And when you watch his preliminary performance, you can see that he's the best performer there. But off stage, one thing I like about him is that he has a very engaging personality. However, part of me feels like he is still missing something. And I know he seems to be doing everything right, but for some reason, he seems to be getting overconfident given his aura in the recent activities, and that could be a potential red flag. I also could not forget how nervous he was during his introduction ceremony performance, so I am really scared for him come Q&A. But let's see, who knows? I may be wrong, and he might eventually win. But my bet to win Mr. Supranational this year goes to Henrique Martins from Brazil. Actually, guys, he and Spain are have been neck and neck for this year's title, but I have made up my mind and decided to give it to this Brazilian guy. The thing that gets me to this Brazilian guy is that he's very quiet and unassuming. Granted that he is a frontrunner for this year's competition, but he does not seem to put it in his head and still acts very humble. And I think that is a true hallmark of a gentleman, or in this case, of a king. If there is one lesson I learned from covering this year's Mr. Supranational, is for these guys' ability not to impress for themselves or others, but more so to shine a light on everyone surrounding them. And that's clearly what he's doing. His presence is just so imposing in a very positive way. Like when he smiles, you could immediately feel his kindness. And that $1 million smile, whether on or off stage, can really disarm you. And if you also check out his profile or background as a former Olympian swimmer, that could really work in favor for the organization's branding image of attracting sportsmen or athletes or other athletes to cross over to pageantry as well. That an alpha male like him could dominate not just the world of sports, but pageantry as well. And for the longest time, we only associate pageantry with modeling and the fashion industries, but with him probably winning later, it could really be, a good sign for an Olympian like him in Mr. Supranational's roster of winners. It's his charm and profile that are giving him the slight edge over Spain right now. So there you go, guys. What do you think about my list? Does it match yours? So please comment down your thoughts about your approval or disapproval about my list, because I also want to read all of them. Alright guys, that's it. Good night all the way from the Philippines. Until my next video. Bye.